Listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 125.2, our girls basketball live scoreboard for Friday night's games and Saturday's predictions in Blackford, Delaware, Grant Howard, Madison, Tipton, and northern Hamilton counties.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Good choice. Today is December 21st, 2024. It's a Saturday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana basketball. I am coming to you today from Stage 22 in Elwood, Indiana. Producer Susie is back at headquarters in Jeffersonville. And after I do the scores right now, I will be joined by Michelle Garmon of the Elwood Call-Leader and Tipton Tribune. She will go over Friday's results with me. Then she and I will make our picks for Saturday's games. We also have a boys basketball scoreboard coming up later. It was a very busy Friday, and I couldn't stay awake on Friday and get it done, so it's going to be a little later than expected. I hope you will forgive me. Don't forget, we'll have podcasts throughout the holiday season here. Even on Christmas Day, we will have something for you. All right, to Friday's local girls basketball scores. Elwood won its ninth game, 42-30 over Blackford. Class 2A number 2 Alexandria is 12-0 after a 58-13 win over Eastbrook. Anderson won its first game of the season, 58-57 over Muncie Central. Kokomo beat Marion 56-44. And a busy night in the Hoosier Heartland Conference, Sheridan crushed Eastern 72-15. Clinton Central beat Tri-Central 58-35, and Delphi topped Taylor 63-30. And in a bit of an upset, Rossville beat defending conference champion Carroll 36-33. Also, Cowan lost to Tri 53-7. A little bit outside of our coverage area, but still of interest to our listeners. Number 2, Hamilton Southeastern beat Fishers 47-34 in the Mudsock game. Carmel edged North Central 49-45. Top-ranked Lawrence Central beat Pike 71-61, and 2A number 5 Eastern Hancock knocked off Knightstown 67-25. Now Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call-Leader joins me. Michelle, I just went over all the area scores, but now we're going to go into each game one by one. Alexandria beat Eastbrook 58-13. I was there. It went exactly as we expected.
Yes, Alexandria is definitely at the top of the class when it comes to the CIC. They have a big game coming up later against Oak Hill that will determine the conference championship. But yes, Eastbrook.
They're now tied with Oak Hill on top of the CIC. Oak Hill's at Frankton today though, so they won't be tied for very long. They will either be in the lead if Frankton can pull off the upset, or they'll be a half game behind Oak Hill. By the way, that game between Alexandria and Oak Hill, we've been talking about since October. It's January 25th. We kind of knew that was going to be a big one early on, didn't we?
Yes, we did. That'll come down to all the marbles, and that's going to be a little bit bigger too, because it's not just for it will be for the conference, but that's also going to be one of the last games Alexandria plays before entering into the tournament. So that will be a big game for them too, because it will be a game that they'll want to perform well in. And I mean, whether it's they want to win it, but they'll want to win it performing well.
They will play Madison Grant in their last game after Oak Hill, but you're right. It's right. It's the penultimate game of the year. By the way, I taught my kids in class this week the word penultimate. So,
All right.
so Madison Grant kids know the word penultimate now. I taught them that on the penultimate day before Christmas break. So, I think it's probably stuck with them. Anyway, Alexandria, it was fairly close in the first quarter. It was competitive. It ended up 18-9, but I think it was 9-7, maybe midway through the first quarter. Then Alexandria outscored Eastbrook 15-0 in the second, 19-3 in the third, to take complete charge of the game. Lily Harp had a career best 24 points. Her season high before that was 14 against Delta. Her career high was 15 in a loss to Lapel at the end of last season.
Has really stepped up now and is that strong secondary score that Alexandria needs. And I think then they're finding with, maybe Riley Kellums and the McFall girl, a couple girls that can battle for that third, that third and that fourth. And but that's huge for Alexandria because it takes some of the pressure off of Jacqueline.
And I spoke with both of them after the game on Friday. All right, I'm here with Lily Harp and Jacqueline Hosier. A big win again tonight. So, Jacqueline, is she your go-to scorer now?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Talk a little bit about what she's brought to the table for your team, the program, for the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, she's just a really good attacker, gets the basket finish as well, and she's our second leading scorer, so I can just always rely on her. I know what she's going to bring each night, so I think that's pretty much what she does for the past 4 years.
All right, Lily, really aggressive tonight. Was that in the game plan, or did it just kind of happen like that?
It kind of just happened. I mean, I always try to be aggressive, but I don't know, kind of just happened tonight. I was finishing well, so.
Tell me a little bit about your what you bring offensively to the team, if you don't mind.
Definitely my drives and taking it in the lane. My dump passes are probably one of my other big things. Sometimes I can hit threes.
It was one beautiful one tonight.
It's iffy, but sometimes yeah. So I'd say taking it in the lane probably.
All right, so 13-0 doesn't get any better than that. What do you think you've learned through the first 13 games?
Winning is fun, but I think we've had there are tough games to play in when you're playing these kind of teams, but I think we have better competition coming, so we can't lose focus, just get better in practice every day and be ready for what's coming.
All right, and she said it. You guys have some big ones coming up. Are you guys getting excited about the holiday tournament? I'm not the Madison County tournament and the Richmond tournament and those things?
Yeah, I think those are going to be our biggest competition this year, so we really need to focus on working towards that because, I mean, we're doing really good so far, but we're going to have bigger competition that we need to get ready for.
By the way, Michelle had only 9 points. Her fewest coming into the game had been 19. The 9 points is her fewest since the same game that Harp scored her 15 points, her career high before, and they lost to Lapel at the end of last season in the sectional. And Abby Gaines and freshman Kylie Davidson scored 6 points apiece for Alexandria. And I don't think Jacqueline was too disappointed that she scored 9 points.
No, I mean, Jacqueline she has goals. The whole team has goals, obviously they would love nothing more than to win the county tournament in January. I think before that they would like to go and play well and perhaps bring home a championship from the Richmond tournament, carry that over into the county tournament. But, then they want to win the conference, and then they want to, win the sectional, a couple things that have eluded them during this run, and I think would help make Jacqueline's career at Alexandria complete. She's done quite a lot and everything. So, but yeah, Jacqueline's not going to matter. Her stats won't matter to her. What matters to Jacqueline is did the team win?
Absolutely. Same with her father, who, by the way, was inducted in the Alexandria inaugural Hall of Fame class on Friday evening. So his attention was a little divided, but luckily it didn't matter too much. And here is Coach Hosier talking about the game, the upcoming tournament at Richmond, and him going into the Hall of Fame. Competitive for the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then I thought I thought the word that went through my head was overwhelmed them.
Yeah, I think there was a number of timeouts called in the first half, and one of the things that I really tried to keep saying to our girls is they're tired. Keep playing. It looked choppy. We weren't making shots. I thought we talked about at halftime. I thought we got a lot of good rhythm shots, and we just didn't make them. And even though we were up over 20 points at halftime, it just was really choppy. And so I think, like we've talked about over and over, it's can a team play in the first quarter and hang in the first quarter and maybe in the second quarter, but can they sustain that for 3 quarters with the pressure that we're going to put on people? And I think this is one of those nights where they had a good plan going in, and she had them ready to go, and we just, like you said, as the game went on, we overwhelmed them a little bit.
And Lily, once she gets going toward the basket, once she gets in the lane, she's awfully tough to stop.
Yeah, we actually talked in the timeout just about she was catching the ball and just kind of hesitating a little bit. And when she catches it and goes, she either gets a shot or she finds somebody. And so from that like timeout on, she really dominated the game and, got shots for herself, but also, had a couple of those dump downs, like you said, just to get easy shots for other people. Our outside shot wasn't falling, but we were able to get some shots around the basket. And obviously when we can score, we can get into our press.
After Christmas, you have a really big stretch of about 30 days before the postseason. What are you looking for at Richmond? What are you looking for in the Madison County tournament from your team?
I think if you look at our schedule, what we've done so far, we need some tests, and we need to, maybe we need to get our butt kicked a little bit, or we need somebody to push us, and we need to come down the stretch, and we have to make some decisions as a coaching staff, and we need to make some free throws or hold the ball. And we just we've had a couple close games, but even at the end, we've kind of taken the lead, and we haven't had to make those decisions 13 games into our season. And so I'd rather it be 13-0, but I think in the end, when it comes to the tournament, you're going to need some of those tests to help you get prepared for a good tournament game, whether it's the county or in the sectional.
What does it mean to you to be considered one of the best 5-6 athletes, sports, figures, because I know Garth, of course, is one of them as well, to ever come out of the school? What does that mean to you? To be recognized as that.
Yeah, it's special. It's special, one, because I just know how many good players have played here, and whether it's been basketball especially, but just in general. And so, even to be out there with JD or Jody or Luke, it's pretty cool. Also means I'm getting older if you're getting honored, like things like that. But no.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. I tell my team all the time, like I played Division I basketball, but there was nothing like playing for my high school team and the community that I grew up in and went in a sectional with my friends and my teammates. And so, I want that to happen for them. But yeah, it's special.
Congratulations to Coach Mickey Hosier. It's well deserved. He had quite the career at Alexandria, and he turned around and he had quite the career at Ball State, playing for the Cardinals. He's a part of an inaugural class. I think it is a special class. It's a class that includes Jody Howe, an Indiana Miss Basketball, who had a really good career at Purdue. Jody, was just so much fun to watch as a player. I kind of hate it because in the end, I think her career kind of was injury marred or marred by injury some. But not just a great player. She just like Mickey, just great people. And JD Closser is one of the most entertaining, one of the best baseball players and entertaining baseball players I've ever seen. Standout catcher for Alexandria, drafted into the major leagues. And he swung a wonderful bat. I mean, he was, I know pitchers didn't necessarily like to face him in high school.
I bet.
And then you have Luke Blanton, who I'm not quite, the name really rings a bell for me, but I'm not quite familiar with.
State champion wrestler.
Okay, that's why. Yes, solid, good thing. And then you have the late Garth Cohn, and Garth is just. If only people that don't know who Garth Cohn is are the people that have just been born in the last 20 years,
Or aren't from around here, or aren't from Indiana.
Right. What a fantastic coach, and what a great guy. I enjoyed him. Any interview, post-game interview, or just if I saw him perhaps at a game that he wasn't coaching him, we got to talk with an enjoyable man and a knowledgeable man. And I know he made an impact on Coach Hosier and all the players that he coached that came through Alexandria, and not just an impact for them on the basketball court, but an impact in their lives as well. I don't think people realize that Garth Cohen was quite the basketball player himself. I didn't really know it until I was at Taylor University to watch a game, and I saw his picture on their wall.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Eastbrook is now 3-7, 1-2 in the CIC. Mia Bustos scored 9 of the Panthers' 11 points. AJ Brenner scored the other 2. As you can imagine, Eastbrook head coach Alicia Griffin wasn't exactly thrilled by the performance.
It looked like you had a good game plan coming in, executed pretty well the first couple minutes, and then I think they maybe wore you down, overwhelmed you maybe.
We struggled with our passes right off the start. We talked about being faking passes more to throw the defense off so we can make better, clearer passes, and taking the rainbow out of them. And we just didn't do that, and so that was their major downfall offensively, is we just didn't pass well, and then we couldn't get any looks at the basket.
And that's a team you just can't do that against.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Did you see anything that you liked?
I thought our defense was pretty dang good. We held D1 Jackie Hosier to 9 points, which is a feat. So I thought we did really well on her, and then the other parts of our zone really picked up where we left off. We had held the 13% from the 3-point line in the first half, and so just we got gassed and couldn't put it all together for the whole game.
Elwood won its second straight CIC game after not winning one for 6 years, 42-30 over Blackford. 9th win of the year, most since 2017. Breland Morris had 25 of the Panthers, 42 points in the win.
Yeah, great for the Panthers. They're at 9 wins. I mean, I think they can be a 1 game short, so I think they're going to play like at 22, 21, games in their schedule. So, I mean, they're just a couple games away from guaranteeing a 500 season, which is phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, double-digit wins in itself is something that,
yes,
they're going to do, which is incredible.
Right, and 2 conference wins or 2-2 in the CIC. They should not finish at the bottom of the conference, which is fantastic, because that in itself, I think, they're getting to have success, and I really like it because I think the kids are really enjoying the season, and all this does is help the program, because now the girls can see that they can have success. And I'm not just talking about the players on the roster now, but those 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that are going to come through the feeder system. Now they're going to want to continue to play basketball because, hey, Elwood Cannon does win.
That's right. It's a big thing.
Yes, it's a huge thing. And so I'm happy. It's going to be the holidays are going to be fun for the Lady Panthers. Now they get
17 days off.
Yeah, they get, and the nice thing is they'll actually get to have some time off to enjoy being young ladies and teenagers, do some things with family and friends. And then they also get to come back in the gym and continue to work on them, because even though they have 9 wins, Coach Licklider would tell you the same. There are still things they need to work on, just like individual, and some situations that just involve them. And then that will give them plenty of time then to also prep for the Madison County tournament. And more importantly, it gives Coach Licklider and her assistants plenty of time to prep, because, the Madison County tournament play on Monday, and every other day. After Monday, that first game, you don't know who your opponent necessarily is going to be, but you can have an idea by the bracket, what 2 teams. So you have to prepare for multiple teams. So having this time off is also advantageous for Coach Licklider and her staff, because it allows them to watch plenty of film and start making notes.
And they play Liberty Christian. Actually, you could make an argument the best 4 teams are all on the other side of the bracket, so they have a chance to get to the final. Although I would assume that Frankton would still be the favorite in that, but we'll see about that. Blackford, 10th straight loss for the defending CIC co-champions. Kokomo beat Marion 56-44 at home. They led start to finish. Kokomo's won 3 of its last 4, now 2-1 in the North Central Conference. Kokomo had an early 36-19 lead. Marion played well in the second half. 14 points apiece for Kokomo for junior Eliana Stewart and sophomore Satira Scott. Stewart also had 8 rebounds and 5 blocks. They are at the North Central tournament or Northeastern tournament Friday and Saturday. Marion's now 5-7, 1-2 in the conference. Freshman Naomi Hahn and Jaylee Townsend combined for 39 of Marion's 44 points and 25 of their 40 rebounds. Those two actually out-rebounded Kokomo almost by themselves. They only 3 shorter than the entire team. They got a nice future there at Marion. They're also in that tournament at Richmond with Alexandria that we mentioned.
Yeah, here's the thing with Marion. I mean, if they weren't the size school they are with those 2 freshmen, they could be a say if they were even down in 2A, they can make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, absolutely.
But but the great thing is they are playing well, and that future is bright at Marion. And those 2 freshmen are pretty good and athletic, and I think they're good enough to make most games competitive to where keep the Giants from really getting blown out, and it's kind of nice to see Marion bounce back, because their girls program was really strong for a while, and then it really kind of went by the wayside. It picked up just a bit, a little bit for a year or 2, and then it kind of dropped back. But now I think looks like it's on its way to coming back and staying back.
Anderson won it. I'm sorry.
And then what Haley Peckinpah has done at Kokomo is just really, she's done such a fantastic job.
Anderson won its first game of the year, 58-57 over Muncie Central. We in the preview said that was definitely a possibility. They are at 6-3 Pike on Saturday, so probably not going to win 2 in a row. But like we said yesterday, Anderson is not one of those helpless, winless teams. It was a tough schedule. They'd had some really close losses. We knew a win was coming, and they beat a team in Central at 6-4. But Central, of course, is playing a schedule of a team that won 2 games last year. So we said yesterday the records were a bit deceiving.
Yes, most definitely. That Anderson had played probably a tougher schedule, and for Anderson, that is a good win. It's good to feel good about yourself. You're right; they're going to play Pike, but Anderson, maybe they maybe that win will help them as they head into after Christmas too, and after New Year, the Madison County tournament, and battle. At least I don't think they're going to battle for first or second or third, but
No. Unfortunately, they're in the side of the bracket. They open with Alexandria, and then they
so
play either
they'll probably be playing in that 7th place game, or whatever that game is.
The loser between LaPel and Pendleton will be the second game, so they're going to have a hard time in the tournament. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate for all 4 of those teams that bracket's like that. Anyway, we've talked about that a lot.
Yes.
Sheridan won his 7th straight game, 72-15 over Eastern. They are only 3 points from being 11-0, Michelle. They are 4-0 in the Hoosier Heartland. They led 34-4 at the end of the first quarter, 43-6 at half. They already started, you could tell, pulling back at the end of the first quarter. Kinsey Garner, 24 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals. Cecilia Timmy, 11 points, 7 steals, 5 rebounds. They are the only unbeaten team in the Hoosier Heartland. Doesn't look like anyone is going to beat them. They host a tournament this week with Seeger, Tri-Central, and Eastern Hancock.
Yeah, Eastern Hancock will be a good test for them, and I know LaPel just beat, kind of upset Eastern Hancock. So I think for Coach Jalen Bradshaw, I always want to call her Jalen Delph, because I remember her as a player as Jalen Delph. So, but So, that'll be a good barometer, especially because they do play LaPel in January. So I think she would tell you, yes, it would be great to be undefeated, but that loss to Indianapolis Brebeuf was probably a good loss because, you know, losses, if you learn from them, can be good. And I think Sheridan is really good. And I think, you know, that loss did not hurt them and is going to help them down the road. Probably already has. But yeah, Jalen's done such a wonderful job with that program over there. And
Yes, she has.
I just hope they stay. I just hope everybody stays healthy as far as injuries, and because I think that it they can make a nice little run in the tournament at the end of the year.
Clinton Central won 58-35 at Tri Central. Tri Central's at the Sheridan tournament I just mentioned, and they face Eastern Hancock in the opening round. That's going to be a tough one. Clinton Central hosts 0-3 Bethesda Christian on Saturday, so they will get their 9th win on Saturday. And the Central Indiana Sports Report girls basketball player of the night is Alexandria senior Lily Harp, who had a career best 24 points in the Tigers' 58-13 win over Eastbrook.
It's it's well deserved. It's well
Yes, it
deserved.
is. All right, Michelle, our picks. We go into our picks for Saturday. You are ahead 6-3. I don't want to talk about it. You had a 5-1 advantage on Friday, and your boys' advantage might have even been even larger. So your only miss was picking Elwood. You said over 22, and it was under 22. They won by 12. You got Eastbrook keeping the margin within 50 of Alexandria. Clinton Central beating Tri Central by more than 9. Marion keeping it within 23. Kokomo won by 12. Anderson definitely did play closer than 8 points to Muncie Central, and they won their first game. And Delphi beat Taylor by more than 20. So, well
Yeah,
done. Here,
I just knew. Here's the thing: the 50 points with Ellick and Eastbrook. I knew it could be that way. I just didn't see it going that way. I just didn't think Mickey would necessarily let it get that way unless it was just happened because the young kids couldn't
well,
miss when they
Eastbrook's
came.
defense was not bad. I will say that. So they did a lot of good things defensively against Alexandria. So, all right, here we go. Saturday's games. Oak Hill at Frankton. Oak Hill is 11-1, won 7 in a row, including a 40-29 win over Wabash on Wednesday. Frankton is 5-7. They lost 57-37 at Wapahani in their only game last week. Greg says Oak Hill by 14.
Okay. You may have actually kind of nailed that on the head.
I'm good,
Frank,
Michelle.
I know Frankton has played their best. Frankton has played their best at home against solid competition, against good competition. Um, so, and after 20 points, and you said 14?
Yes.
Okay. Although I think it could be more, I'm going to I'm going to say the Eagles are going to be out to play better and to prove a little something and want to have a nice holiday. So although I believe Oak Hill will win, I'll just say they're going to do it under 14, maybe might be 12, 13, but probably double digits, but I'll go under.
Mrs. Cinewall goes to Madison Grant for a noon game, so they're about to start. Mrs. Cinewall is 3-7, 1-1 overall, but they've won 2 of their last 4. Madison Grant's 3-9, 1-2 in the Central Indiana Conference, but they've won 2 of their last 5. Greg's pick is Mrs. Cinewall by 13.
More. Mrs. Cinewall will win by more.
North Central goes to Pendleton Heights. North Central is 1-8 and has lost 7 in a row. Of course, they are a 3-time state champion. They are struggling though right now. Pendleton Heights is 6-6. They've been a 500 team all season against a killer schedule. It does lighten up in the second half of the season, by the way. They should get to 10 wins by the end of the Madison County tournament. Greg's pick is Pendleton by 14.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you saw that last night, but North Central almost got their first win last night. They only lost to
Yes, they
Carmel
did.
by a point.
Yes, they did. They're not bad. They're not a
No, they're
bad
not.
1-8 team, that's for sure.
No, they're not a bad 1-8 team. So, and you said by 15?
14.
14 again. Okay. You know what? Um, I know sometimes you can have a close game and then come back and lay an egg, but I think North Central's right there on the verge, and I would say their performance last night gave them a little bit of confidence, so I'll say under 14.
All right. Delta goes to Greenfield Central at 1:30 for a um, Hoosier Heritage game. Delta is 8-4, 2-2 in the conference. They've won 4 of their last 5. They lost 2 games in the final seconds of the game to Yorktown or Wapahani, or they would be 10-2 with 10 straight wins. Greenfield Central is 8 and no, that's not. They just lost to Pendleton. But other than that, they would have had 10 straight wins. Greenfield Central is 8-3, 2-1 in the conference. They lost their first HHC game Thursday, 48-43 at Shelbyville. Greg says Greenfield Central by 5.
More.
Hamilton Heights goes to Blackford at 1:30 today. Hamilton Heights is 2-10. They've won 2 of their last 3 though after an 0-9 start. Blackford is 1-10. They've lost 9 in a row. Greg says Hamilton Heights by 11.
More.
Blue River is at Eastbrook. Blue River's 3-8. They started 1-6, but lost 2 of their last, but will have won 2 of their last 4. Eastbrook is 3-8. They are 2-1 at home, including a big CIC win over Elwood. So they 2-1 at home, 1-7 away from home. Man, someone needs to fire that schedule maker, don't they? Greg's pick though is that Eastbrook is going to go to 3-1 at home. Eastbrook by 16.
Uh, okay. Eastbrook, you said by 16.
Yes.
I'll say less.
Okay. Our
Not
final
much less, but less.
Our final game is a Mid-Eastern Conference game. Daleville goes to West Dell. Daleville is 6-5, have won 3 of their last 4. Lost to Shenandoah by 10 on Thursday. West Dell is 0-12. Their average score for a game is 63-17. Greg's pick is Daleville by 41.
Oh boy.
Pretty good Daleville team.
Yeah,
They're
no,
they're
no,
athletic and
it is. It's when you go up high like that. I start trying to figure
yes,
into my mind
it's a
because
whole different calculation, isn't it?
it is, especially now with the running, that running clock gauge. Because once you get to 35, so it runs, and if you I know it can be more than that, but then sometimes it ends up being just a little bit less than the 35. I'll say more. I'll say it's 42 to 45 points. I'll go more.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. We're gonna I'm gonna post this right now, and then you and I are gonna come back and talk about some boys basketball.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you everyone. Thanks to Michelle, by the way, and to Coach Hosier and Jacqueline Hosier and Lily Harp, and also to Eastbrook head coach Alicia Griffin for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report, and to Michelle, you're the best, Michelle. And thank you everyone for listening. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.
Yes, he does, and so do I. And everybody should love Susie because
Everybody loves Susie.
she's a big support system that allows Gray to engage in this platform, and we are very thankful.
And we're going to go very fast on the boys basketball so I can get home and see her.
All right.